Iowa's auditor and its governor are at odds over how federal COVID-19 relief dollars were spent.
A state audit released yesterday shows Governor Kim Reynolds' office used nearly $450,000 to pay salaries for staff members. The state's auditor says this wasn't the proper use of federal relief funds and has major concerns on how the governor's office has responded in the past year.
Local 5's Mary Sugden joins us now outside the Capitol. Mary, you spoke with State Auditor Rob Sand today.
That's right. I met with him here at the State House this morning, and he shared his frustrations. He says that he warned the governor's office last year and multiple times that it would be difficult to have staff salaries qualify for this CARES Act funding. But he says all of those warnings fell on deaf ears.
We told her to maintain documentation and have them be doing work that was directly impacting the pandemic, but she didn't take our advice, and here we are.
Iowa State Auditor Rob Sand says Governor Reynolds' staffing level was approved pre-pandemic, which is why he's confused nearly $450,000 of federal COVID relief dollars were needed to cover salaries for 21 employees.
The governor had a larger amount of people on staff than she had a budget to pay for. And instead of either getting a bigger budget or reducing her personal staff size, she went and she used some of these COVID dollars to pay staff salaries.
He says his office made it clear Reynolds' staff didn't have the direct impact on the pandemic needed to qualify for these funds and suggested the money be used on more direct costs, for example, COVID-19 testing.
And so at the end of the day, what we saw was a spreadsheet that was altered, where it said that originally this is the amount of budget shortfall that we have in the governor's office. And then they simply changed that heading to say this was COVID related.
A spokesperson with Reynolds' office sent Local 5 a statement saying the U.S. Department of Treasury confirmed the use of coronavirus relief funds to reimburse salaries and benefits is an allowable expense. He goes on to say, during this time, the governor's staff spent a vast majority of their time responding to the pandemic. In fact, many members of Governor Reynolds' staff worked 7 days a week out of the State Emergency Operations Center to provide direct support to Iowans. This has always been our justification for the expense. The governor's office says it's working with the Treasury Department to provide the documentation it needs, something the office told us last year when these accusations were first raised.
I don't know why, after having been asked twice and twice saying that they did not have any, they're now telling the public, oh, don't worry, we're working on putting together documentation.
Now, Sand tells me if the Department of Treasury rejects those documents that Reynolds' office says that it's working to provide, that would potentially put the state on the hook for that roughly $450,000. Live at the State House, Mary Sugden, Local 5 News. We are Iowa.
All right, Mary, thank you so much. The same state audit also found unemployment benefits to inmates and deceased Iowans. The report says those payments should never have been made. The audit claims Iowa Workforce Development paid 8 inmates a total of nearly $114,000 in unemployment benefits, all due to no one checking the inmate list against claims made. And the audit claims IWD also paid 6 deceased Iowans a total of nearly $125,000 in benefits. The report says this was due to staff stretched too thin. Staff members, which typically investigate claims for legitimacy, were instead too bogged down with other work when the pandemic first started.